said, I think I just had like enough in certain ways last night, and slept quite a bit without having to take multiple trazodone, which is good because like, I don't want to OD on sleep medicine. It'd be such a dumb way to go, you know. It hasn't said a word to me since Wednesday morning at like 10 something, when he said that he cares about me and just wants me to be healthy, and I said thank you. And I mean, I want that for myself too, and I care about myself too now, so I mean, I agree with his statement. You know, in the rest of Wednesday, I was hoping to hear from him more. All day yesterday, I was hoping to hear from him. When I actually woke up this morning, the first thing I did was look at my phone and see if he'd sent me anything. Which was like a big issue with me, because when everything in July went down the way that it went down, and then he became suicidal after I told him that I've gotten really good at disassociating when people rape me. And I always feel like I'm cheating on him when people do that. And it makes me feel disgusting and dirty. And like an awful wife. And I mean, ironically, like, I would have felt awful if I didn't do it, because when I didn't do it before, there was like a 3 or 4 day rage after it. And to be clear, like I did participate in it that particular time, and then he wanted it to happen again, and I couldn't. Like, I had thrown up and I was sick, and I said I couldn't do it. I hadn't gotten very good at shutting off my brain yet. And he went into just a full-blown rage. Like, that night in the hotel, I was terrified of him. He was throwing shit and breaking shit. And when we got home, it went on for days. And I had kind of recently, before that, I guess, I bought him some artwork for our bedroom and bathroom, and he ripped all that off the walls and burned it in front of me. And, you know, so like, you just learn to fucking do it. Because that's not all that happened. I was suicidal. What kind of wife am I if I don't do that for my husband and all that shit? So anyway, then it, you know, it still happened after that, and then I didn't say no anymore. In the moment, I said no before. I said I didn't want to do it. I said, please don't make me do it. I said, please love me. Please treat me like a cherished wife, instead of just a toy to pass around. And whenever I said stuff like that, like, he was furious. How can I say that about my husband? What kind of man do I think he is? I mean, what kind of man do you think you are? So like every time that I knew of something that was going to happen, I didn't want to partake. And then it even got to a point where I would joke with him about it. Like if we're in a situation, well then I'm like, sure, if it's Chris Hemsworth. All day long. All day. And still, I mean, of course, no, because I was married. I took my vows seriously, but he knew my wishes and went against them. And when that happened in July, and I told him that I'd gotten really good at just turning it off, and it wasn't affecting me as badly anymore. I wasn't getting as sick. I was putting on a hell of a good show by then. And he fucked around with a woman, and he swore that he wouldn't. And he was really upset at himself about that. And I was like, you'll be fine. Like, I always felt like shit, but I'm getting better about it. You'll be fine. There's no need to be suicidal. There's no need to want to kill yourself. There's no need, we're fine. And he didn't handle it well, and then that's when he took a toaster into the bathroom to fry himself in the tub while I laid in the bed 15 feet away. And then that was we were on vacation for his birthday, and then I was supposed to go home and he was supposed to go to work, and then he was supposed to come home 4 days later for his actual birthday, over the weekend. And he'd gotten really bad, very, very mentally unwell. And I was like, I need to get the guns out of my house again. And when I told him that I was doing that, he was fucking mad at me and said that I was overstepping, and it wasn't my place to worry about the guns. And of course he'd never shoot himself in the head. I have sketches of him shooting himself in the head and how much he wanted to do that, but of course he never would. He's fully in control of himself. And I was like, no, I'm gonna move the guns. And he's like, if you move them, I'm not coming home. And because he was in a different state at the time, physically, I don't know where the hell he was for work. I stood my ground. If he'd been home, it would have blown over like it always does. But I stood my ground, and I'm like, no, I'm moving the guns. I don't care what you say. I don't care what happens. And he pretty much said, if you move them, I'm not coming home, and this is gonna change our relationship forever, and all the other bullshit to try to get me to back off, and I wouldn't back off. And then he had started drinking and doing drugs, and then he tried to kill himself. And when that happened, I'll probably talk about this just a lot because it was a big deal in my life. He turned into this other guy, Mr. Peterson, and Mr. Peterson and I spoke on the phone a couple times, and he was telling me what an awful woman I was and what an awful wife I was, and John has secrets that I don't know about, and that John was dead, that Mr. Peterson had killed him, and now Mr. Peterson was killing himself. And how he frequents the strip clubs and I don't know about it, and women and other stuff. And I was on the phone with the police trying to get them his location, because he'd send me a pin where he was, but not his location, but just like a pin. And then they would drive there, but he'd already moved, and he just played this game for like 5.5 hours that night with me and the PD. I need to tell that story in detail, but after they arrested him, he got put in the loony bin, where he was treated very poorly, of course. Always a victim, you know? He could have killed so many people that night. Never thought about that part. He just thought about how mean everybody was to him, and I'm sure they treated him very kindly. He just always has to be a fake victim. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Oh, and Mr. Peterson said that I was going to be removed from John's life as well. He didn't say kill me. He said remove me. That was enough for me. So I was like, this has to end. And then when he got out of the loony bin, he opened himself up checking accounts because he didn't want to share money anymore, and said that he was going to stay in Vegas for 6 or 8 weeks anyway, regardless of anything. I hadn't told him that I was probably going to get a divorce, you know, like in July he had told me. He told me to go fuck myself a few times, told me that he was done with me, told me that I said I need a break, and what I meant, and it's in, like, I said it properly, it was like, I need a break from this tonight, I can't continue to do this tonight. He said, well, I'm taking more than a break, I'm done. I don't know how many times he broke up with me in July, and then said he wasn't coming home and all that shit, and it's like, you know. Then he told me he was looking for an apartment in Vegas, and he did everything that he could, and he said that he was thinking about divorce and separation, that people had been telling him about it. And so I was like, I can't do this, and I can't have him come back here. I'm gonna file a restraining order, and I'm gonna file divorce papers, and I did, and now he blames me for leaving him, which is fine, I don't care anymore, but and then he got really fucking nasty and started to say all kinds of shit about me and what he thought about me. And I have a black heart, and I'm pure evil, and my mother's pure evil, and this apple doesn't fall far from the tree. We're all fucking evil, you know? And now he's happy that I'm leaving him, because now I can go find his one true love, which apparently he's been working on pretty hard. And them cokeheads, you know, and just all kinds of really horrible shit. And like, we got contact, and then when he came home to get served, which he was trying to avoid, and then finally he just came home and got served again, I heard his voice and I was screwed. And so that kind of started communication with us again. And my goodness, Hank, buddy. And then he came back in town like a week and a half or 2 weeks later to pack all of his shit and move. And we had sex, and I really wanted the last people that had touched me to not be the last people that had touched me. And I wanted to see, like, if there's any type of connection with us. And there wasn't. Just like there had never been. Not one time ever did we do anything other than just fuck. But like, from September 14th through October 31st. Lay down. We were chatting all day, every day. And I was trying my best to keep him alive. And he was suicidal and very excited to move and very regretful. All of this, you know, him all over the place as usual. And I also just wanted, I mean, I loved him. And I'm very bonded to him in a very unhealthy way. Not because of any like major outside shit, but because of him, because he caused a trauma bond. He caused the lows and he caused the highs. He caused the pain, and then he was the only one that could convince me that it was Hank, it was okay, and that, you know, it didn't happen, or it didn't happen that way, or he really didn't mean it, or he didn't even do it. It was his bipolar, and he just can't control his bipolar, and I have to forgive him and all that shit. And so you go from these like lows to a hug that makes you feel better, and years of that really mess you up, and they equate a trauma bond to like a severe heroin addiction. And I really thought that we were, like in September, I knew that he was online dating. And of course I let him convince me that he wasn't. I saw the fucking profile, and that he was active on it, and that he was talking to people. My brain just hasn't worked in so long. It just can't keep up with all the lies, and then you don't want the lies to be the truth, so you just decide that they're not, you know. And Hank, no bark. Hi, no bark. He's gonna bark. He doesn't listen to me. Nobody listens to me. And the whole time we were in the divorce process, he was telling me that, you know, he wasn't dating and he wasn't gonna date, and the only thing that he wanted to do was get happy and healthy and make money and come back to me. And I was like, well, we're still getting a divorce. And you still need to go get healthy, and I need to get healthy because I'm very sick of it. And, you know, at some point in the future, if we're both healthy, we can give it another go if we're both single and we're good. But at the same time, like I was trying to keep him alive and maintain contact with the guy that I was addicted to, for him and for myself. And I'm not the kind of person that when I break up with someone, I never talk to them again. Like, one of my best friends is, I went to his wedding, and I love his wife. And like, we all talk all the time. Just because it doesn't work out doesn't mean that I don't like you or love you or whatever, in a friendly way. And it didn't have to be like that with him and I. Like, I had planned on still maintaining a friendship. And then the night before the divorce went through, I saw that he was online dating actively as a divorced man still. 3 months now he's been doing it, that I know of. And we'd had like the most intense conversation. I gotta stop and restart the video. So the night before the divorce was on a Friday at like 9 in the morning. The night before we had our last conversation as husband and wife. And like the whole time leading up to the divorce, I was panicking because I didn't want the divorce. Even though I wanted the divorce because I sound like now in anything related to I sound like I was probably in. I know that there's a lot of people that can relate that have been through this kind of thing. I don't know how many times I thought about calling it off, but I know that the week specifically, I don't know if it was a week and a half, the week specifically before, I was freaking out and was really heavily considering calling it off. And thank goodness I have a support system. And some of them are like, are you fucking crazy? Which doesn't help. And some of them were like, honey, while I don't understand, I understand. And it's very painful and it's scary and it's all of that stuff. But like, let's talk about why you're getting a divorce. Let's remember why you're getting it. And thank God for those people. And then the night before, I was, it's like you're going up a hill of a roller coaster and you're panicking and you're panicking and you're panicking and there's like no turning back now, right? But and then you get to the very, very, very top and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna jump out of this mofo before it goes over. Then I was like, I'm not going to court tomorrow. I can't do this. And him and I had that conversation. Not that conversation. I didn't say that to him. The last week of all of our communication, I had started to respond. I was still responding constantly, but I was responding a little bit more guarded to everything. And that was because I was trying my very best to not tell him to come home. Because he was drinking and he was doing drugs and if this isn't a good reason to get sober and work on yourself, it's moving back home certainly isn't going to be, And then we had that call. And since that call, I have had those types of cries. But on that call, I couldn't breathe. And I wanted him to come home immediately, and I wanted him to get healthy and to come home like we talked about. Not as a promise today, but just as a spot of hope for me. How you love someone and fucking hate them and you're terrified of them, but you want them all at the same time. It's very messed up. And while we were on that call, he's like, I'm never gonna date again. And then he changed it to, I'm not gonna date for a while. But I'm never gonna call anyone else my beauty. Which I hated that. I hated it. Because it was dumb. But it was mine. And so I liked what it stood for. I just didn't like my beauty. And it still melted my heart though. Because it was my guy. I'll never call anyone my beauty. The name's retired and I have no desire for other women. I mean, he's on, I have no desire for other women. I only want to get healthy and come home. And when we said goodbye, it was the last time as husband and wife, but I thought I'd talk to him in the morning. And I don't know how long, maybe an hour later, maybe less than, I can't fucking remember anymore. And I was like, I'm gonna see if he's still on Match. And he was on Match, active. right then. And I texted him, I'm like, are you online dating? He's like, no. And I'm like, swear to me on my life that you aren't online dating right now. He's like, I don't like to swear on your life, because he doesn't, that's not a thing for him, because everything that he says is a lie. He goes, but no, I'm not online dating. And I'm literally holding my phone looking at his active profile. I was like, that's okay. Thank you. I appreciate you responding. And then he said some other bullshit about, of course, he responded, and of course he's not online dating, and he has no interest in anyone, and blah, 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 and I won't touch another woman for 6 months. I mean, an hour and a half ago it was he's never going to date another woman, and now he's not going to date or touch another woman for 6 months. Give me a chance to love him again first. And I was just like, damn it, like everything is a lie. I'm done. I made the right decision. He's been lying the whole 3 months. You know, he'd tell me that he was drinking, then he'd tell me that he wasn't drinking, then he'd tell me how much he was drinking, then he'd say he wasn't drinking anything, and he never drank. Like, you know, I mean, I can keep up with his lies better than he can, and my fucking brain doesn't even work. And so I was like, okay, that's the last lie that I need. I'm gonna walk into court tomorrow, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna work on being okay now. Like, I can't. And so, I was done. The next day we got the dissolution, and he reached out, but I couldn't respond to him. My family took me out to a Mexican restaurant. We got the largest party margarita they had, and we all got drunk. And it felt good, like really good, and it felt awful. And then the next day I finally responded to him and told him that, you know what, that day I did say, all I said was we're dissolved, goodbye, or like dissolved, goodbye. And then I didn't respond to anything else the rest of the day. And by that night I was super sick. Not drunk, sick, but like my throat was killing me. I had lost my voice completely. I had just this headache. My whole fucking body hurt. Like I had a huge physical reaction. But then I told him the next day or whatever that was, because it was a default divorce. He never responded. He told me he was never going to respond. We had a conversation on my driveway when he was in town one of those 2 times, and he was like, I'm not responding, I'm not getting a lawyer. Take the house. It's better for me if you keep the house so that you can live there with all of the animals. And if you sell one day, give me some money. If I try to change my mind, don't listen to me. That was one of the most real conversations that I thought we'd ever had. However, he doesn't remember. He said the other night that he remembers the whole damn thing. He remembers the conversation. He just decided, since I stopped talking to him, playing his fucking game, that he was gonna screw me over. So he did. But he told me everything to do in the default. But he was mad at me because I said, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm done with your lies. Little did he know, it was much less from a spot of anger than it was from just being completely broken. Like, he lied to me our whole entire relationship. From before we met, when he said that he wasn't in a relationship and that his ex-wife was a lesbian and left him, and there were no feelings, and that he has pictures of her with this other woman, and I mean, I watched Friends, like it's a believable scenario, right? It just was a lie. So yeah, like he's lied from the very fucking get-go. And he lied to me the night before the divorce, and he didn't have to do that. He could have just been honest for once and said, yeah, I'm online dating, I panicked. Or I want to fuck other women. Or I really never loved you and I'm excited to online date, like we're getting divorced tomorrow. But instead he lied on my life, and I was done. Like, I was done. My heart was just done. I was so done. It was so broken. And the communication that we had after the divorce went through was only through text. And he called me a few times, and I did send it to voicemail. Because I knew if I picked up what I was going to hear. And I just was already in such a bad state that I couldn't get into a worse state. Like, I knew that I couldn't do it. And so I did go to voicemail, which, whatever. And he was sending texts and threatening all kinds of shit. If you don't call me by this time, I'm coming after you in court. But then sent, another text like 5 hours before my deadline about how he was moving forward already and shit. But yeah, the last time that we talked on the phone was October 31st, and I thought we would talk the next day and every day for the rest of our lives. And so I started struggling massively with going from hundreds of text messages a day with some emails sprinkled in and phone conversations to no phone conversations and only some mean shit from him before he figured out that he should probably stop writing mean shit since he was going to take me back to court. And then there was no communication. And I wasn't okay with that. Because, as unhealthy as it is, I was addicted to speaking to him. And I was at a point where, every time a text message came through, I was like, fuck, prior to this happening, because I just was so overwhelmed by him and everything having to do with him. And, just trying to stay afloat myself was too much, and yet the high from him contacting me and reaching out and stuff was necessary for me, because I'm a mental case with a crazy fucking trauma bond. And so I had to work really, 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 really hard to get past every single morning looking for a text, and all fucking day long looking for a text, and every single night looking for a text throughout the night, and phone calls and all that. I was fucking craving it, like a recovering heroin addict. And I wish that I should have just fucking found some heroin. On Google, how do you find a drug dealer? I bet you there's results. I bet you that there's fucking results on that. That's funny. Shit. I'd rather be addicted to heroin. And thank God for counselors, And she was working with me on it. And like his social media. I had blocked him. I blocked him last July from Facebook because I was tired of him sending me awful, awful, awful shit. And then as soon as I read it, he would delete it like it never happened. Because that's what he did in life. Do something and then undo it. And then if I couldn't prove it, then I'm like, fuck, did it happen? I can't prove it. He's saying it didn't happen. He's saying he didn't say it. He's saying he didn't do it. So I blocked his ass on Messenger because I was like, I'm fucking done with this game. And so I couldn't look at his social media either. And it's gone insane with that. You know, but slowly but surely it would get a little bit better, and then it would get worse, and then it would get better, and then it would get worse. But like that's part of it, is working through it. And then I had turned a corner. And like I knew that he was dating women. He didn't. I don't know that he knew that I knew. I don't know that you know, blah, 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 that whole friends thing. I don't know that he knew that I knew. But I knew. And one of the most real conversations that I've ever had with God. I've had a few super real ones where the response was instant from him. And one of those times was in January after I saw a picture of him with his girlfriend, his unattractive girlfriend, Julie. It was the first one I've seen of him with another woman. And her kid. And I had a little chat with God that night. And I was like, the pain in my heart is too much. And I need you to fix that by tomorrow. I'll talk about it later, but he did fix that. But so it's been a like a progressive thing. Or like that one hit me really exceptionally fucking hard. And then got a little better, and then got a little worse, and then got a little better, and then eventually like I was realizing that I was used to not seeing anything from him. And he would randomly reach out, like in January when he reached out, I had me on the floor. And then in February when he reached out, I hit the floor again. He knew what he was doing. And then he did it again in March. And then we had a brief exchange in April. But he'd already met his soulmate by then, the cokehead Rachel. And he was dickish in that exchange. And that one really fucked me up. But still, I was getting better with not needing to hear from him and not expecting to hear from him and all of that stuff, and not like spending my whole entire fucking day. Like I've been good and bad, but I've made some progress. I think I had good check-ins with my counselor, and then I had really fucking awful ones, but I had good ones too. And I really thought that I was doing so much better. I was doing so much better. Like that week that I laid out here and died. was coming back to life after that. And then the fucking work thing happened, like right when I was feeling really good about not giving a shit about anymore. And the fucking job thing happened. It's like, how many hits? Like, how many fucking hits do you have to take? A lot. And it's not like a poor me thing. Like, everybody has just shit. Life is difficult. Everybody handles it differently. There's some women that like love getting divorced. I don't happen to be one of them. But anyway, the divorce, but the job thing really set me back emotionally again. And then when I heard his damn voice on Monday, like it has reset all of the progress. Not all of it, and not all the way back to the beginning, but it really reset some of the progress. And I guess that in itself is like a huge victory, because it's not like in life we don't go through stuff and then have to figure out how to move on from it, and then have things that, you know, like re-trigger emotions and responses and all of that stuff. Like that's part of healing, is like being able to not have those things ever happen again, but to handle them better. And I'm not handling this well, but I'm not dead. So that's good, they tell me. But yeah, they come back to constantly wanting to see a text, and I don't want to respond back. I don't want to have a conversation with him. I want him to call and talk at me for 9 hours. And I want him to send me 54 text messages a minute. And they'd all be lies. And I don't care. I just want to hear from him. And that's a problem. And he filed his responses to my initial divorce paperwork from August. He was served in September, and he still hadn't filed anything, and he finally filed that this morning. I thought that he was gonna, because we have court again in a week and a half, or our lawyers do. And so I got to read what he signed. I'm like, what the fuck is he gonna say now? What is he gonna do now? What he says, you know, we accumulated property and debt. And I put debt on my sheet last year. But now I'm like, what debt that I don't fucking know about is gonna pop up, if any? And what is he gonna say is debt, and what debt before we were married that I don't know about is he gonna fucking use against me? I hate him. And I want him to come home. So like in the last couple hours, I guess, probably an hour and a half since I read that stuff, I've been mad, which is good. It's good to be mad. And I wanted to hear from him less, for sure. But I'm wanting to stop the video and look and see if he has said anything. What lies does he want to tell me today? And then it's like, well, shit, he hasn't reached out since Wednesday. You know, he confessed his love numerous times again on Monday and Tuesday. And told me how he wants to come home and wants another chance and all that shit. And I guess now I haven't heard from him since Wednesday, so I guess that he's done with that game already. Which is funny to me. Like, that's funny to me. And that's what a psychopath does. I'm disappointed in myself for caring about him. I'm disappointed in myself for wanting to help him. And I'm proud of myself for knowing that I don't need him to help me. Do I want him to? Is a different story. But I don't need anything from him. I needed to be treated like a human being. I needed to be loved properly as a wife. I don't. I don't need shit from him anymore. So I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna try to eat soon. I gotta do that in order to fucking make myself better, you know? But like, again, I'm really lucky that God has fully got me, and that he has sent me the people that he has sent me over the course of my life, and is continuing to send me new and old. I can't imagine having to have gone through this alone, because I had no strength. None. The only reason that I have survived is because of God and because of the things that he has sent to keep me alive. And I owe it to him and to the people that have helped me and to all of the people that I need myself to help. To get better. And I'm going to. I really am. If I could eat, that'd be a really good start. I gotta get strong. One of those people that God sent me is actually coming to stay with me next week. For like 5 days, and I can't wait. I can't wait to change the atmosphere in my home. I can't wait to have an outsider in my home that I feel safe with. And by outsider, I mean like dear friend. But someone that doesn't live here, you know. And I'm excited to change my relationship with my home. And have someone walking around and not be very concerned about that person and what they're gonna do. It's gonna be good. So I need to eat some food so that when he's here, I'm healthy enough. It's gonna be okay. just said that I want to check my phone and see if he's written me, and then now I want to say I think I'm doing good at this moment. I don't want to know. My Lord. The kind of evil that he is just... We live in a spiritual world, and we are in a spiritual war. And I know what side I play for, and I know what side he plays for. So I'm gonna try really hard today to stay out of my head, and if I'm in my head, to be in it in the proper way. Because I really sank this week. And I need to figure my shit back out. I'm gonna go do that.